This is Nathan Stanford Sr. from CodeCraft Hub, helping others learn to code. This is the ColdFusion Simple Blog, Episode 6. So here again, as I finished, we had the home and the admin in the nav bar. We finally are getting to where we're going to start doing some stuff that you're probably more interested in. But you had to go through all this to be able to have the framework of what you're doing. So under here, under admin, I want to create a folder called users. That's where we're going to administrate our users. And then I want to go under admin and create another folder called posts. We're going to put our posts there. So out here will be a list of the posts, but in here will be a list of all the posts, but it will look more like an admin screen so that the administrator can administrate the posts and the users. So for users, we will say index, and that's going to be the list of users. We will say add.cfm, and that's going to be the add form. We will say edit.cfm, and that's the edit form. We will say action underscore insert.cfm, that's inserting the form. We will say action underscore update CFM, that's where we will update the form. Action underscore delete.cfm, that's where we will delete the form. There will be a delete button on the index that brings us to that page, and when it gets to the end of that page, it's going to reforward you back to the index. So now that I've built all those, I can just highlight them from here to here, copy, paste. So now I've got my empty files ready to start working on. So first I want to do, you know what, let's first build a simple, I've cleaned out the database, so we're going to build this first one for users so we can add and edit users, because when we go to do a post, we have to have a user that's doing the post. So on here, we want the same thing we have as far as header and footer, so I'm going to copy all of this and paste it here, and we will simply say this is the user list, we'll call it. I don't know that's a good title, but it'll work. Now, it's in a different folder, so what we need to do is we need to find where the includes folder is. So we went up one level, and we don't see it yet because we have to go up another level. And when we do that, we can see there's the includes. So now we know that will work. Now that we know that will work, we can just copy this part of it, come down here, paste. So now when we get to the user list page, it should work. So since we've got an admin in here, this is saying that this is the admin. Let's just for now, we may change some of this around at some point, make an unordered list and simply make a line item where we say href equals, we want to go to, from the admin, we want to go, we want to go from the admin, we want to, and I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, so we want to go to the, from here, from the admin page, we want to go down into the users page and go to the index.cfm. And so then we can say users, and then we will copy paste this one and simply highlight both of them that say users and say posts. So we've done that. Oops, not two S's. Okay. So now when we go back to our browser, and click on admin, we see we have 2 links. Now, we could obviously make it be part of the drop down and all that. We can do a lot more, but this is the simple block. We're not doing we're already doing more than you would some of the times. So we want to be able to go look at the users. We click that. Here we get to user list. So when we look here under users on the index, we get the user list. Now what I'm going to do is copy this. In the edit, we're going to paste. In the add, we're going to paste. And then why not us take this first one and copy that and go to the posts, paste it in, and change it to, instead of post list, we would just simply say posts. And you know what? I probably should have done that over here as well. Just call it users, because it's obvious it's a list. When you see a list of users, you know it's a list. So we'll copy all of this and we will paste it there and we will paste it there. So now we've got some scaffolding ready. We're ready to go. It's already working. Yes, there's other ways to do this, but this is for beginners who are just learning. So these are all of the fields. So let's close out all of these for a second. We're going to go back here to the index and we're going to add an add button. We'll worry about where the add button will be later once we actually have some users to show in this list. But for right now, let's just create a link that says href. Yeah, this keyboard's gonna cause me to yell here in a minute if it keeps it up. I need to get another one for when I'm doing the videos because I don't use this one for work, and its keys are not in the exact same place I'm used to. Add user. Okay. Now, because we're in Bootstrap, I'm going to go ahead and say class equals, and we're going to say btn for button. We're going to say btn dot dash secondary. That way the color of the button will be, well, let me just show you the color of the button. So if I hit refresh, you see here's the button. If I come back here and I change it to primary, it'll be a different color. Be this blue. I guess I'll leave it blue for now because maybe I should do that and then show you later what I'm thinking. I'm going to move the button inside of this container fluid that's got a starting space, a starting padding to the left of 4. By doing that and saving, if I come back and hit refresh, it moves the button over a little, and it's just an add button. It's not really doing anything. And because we copied user list, inside of the add button it says user list, and we will just simply for right now say add user. We're going to put the form right below that. In fact, you know what? Since we're about to do it, let's just delete it. And I've been typing up some different code. You can look at this code for a form and see what I'm talking about. So if I paste this form in, there's a lot of things I like and a lot of things I don't like. I am real picky, and I normally would change this because I don't like 4 spaces per tab. So there is a way to fix that, but for right now I will leave it this way. So if you come back at some point and it's tabbed 2 spaces, then you'll know that I finally gave in and fixed it. There's another way to fix it, but I don't want to bring that up right now because this is for beginners. So basically we have the title of the form, but this is all inside of a container. And then we have the action of what we're going to do. We're not going to do add user. We're going to do act insert. That's inserting the user. And here's first name and last name, email, and password for the user. So I think that's good. Add user. And since this is a primary button, it should look blue, which is what we had for the other button. So let me hit refresh. And so it's blue, and it's all ready to go. It's thrown in something in here, but we don't want that. So we're going to add a user, and I'm going to simply add Jim sample at jsample at test.com, and I'm going to do a simple password and leave it at that for right now. It's just password because this is me. We're setting this up, getting going, getting it testing. When I hit add user, it should go to act insert. You can see up here it did, and we don't want to save any passwords for this. I'm just going to say never for this one. So we're here, and we're seeing the debug information, which is not really what we're trying to see. But in this act insert, we now want to be able to dump out the form variables that came through when we submitted it. So if I go back here and I simply hit reload and I say, yeah, resubmit the exact same stuff, now we can see first name, last name, password, and we can go back and we can look at our SQL where we wrote these, first name, user, email, password, all that looks correct. So let's close that. And then from here, we can look at, we dumped the form. So what we're going to do is we're going to do CF query name. Now, technically, you could even not put a name on this and it would work just fine. And one thing we can do, CF query, I think I've mentioned it a few times. We don't have to have the database here. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and put it as part of the process that later you can decide when not to put it and when to put it. And here's a query users example. So that's that one we threw in there for later use. That's going to be the one we use for the index homepage once we have some users. So we're going to insert into users. We're going to want to insert all of that, the values, and notice the CF query param. CF query param validates that this is a varchar, 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 varchar. I believe I've got the code set where the index, the ID, should automatically timestamp. Oh, I don't have a timestamp on this. Okay, that's fine. But up here is auto increment, which means it will, it should automatically insert the next ID. So now if we do this, we should be good to go. Now, if your ColdFusion server is newer than, I think it's 2011 or 2009, I can't remember which one, but you don't have to use the add token when you do a CF location. However, that's only true if you've got the correct security set up for that to happen. So it's already giving me a tip to do this. So since I don't know that I have the security set up, if you're working somewhere else and you don't have permission and you don't know if you have it, I recommend just go ahead and add this in here. Whoops. Add this. I did it again. And there. And we're going to say don't add the token. What the token is it puts a CF ID and CF token in your URL so that it can keep track of your session. The problem with that is then someone else could see in your cookies the session and possibly have a chance to steal it. There's a lot of different things can go wrong. I also, even though this looks nice, I'm going to do this. I like it to match what's below. I like it to be spaced out like that. So now we have this ready to go. We have commas on the end of each of these except the last one. We have commas on these. Those are the right fields. These are all varchar. If we had a number, we would be putting CFSQL underscore integer or boolean, or whatever the case may be, whatever the variable may be. So we've got this ready to go. Let's get rid of the dump. We don't need the dump anymore. That was just to help us see that the data got there and it looks like what we think. So I'm going to hit reload and I'll say, yep, go ahead and submit that again. So it submitted. We don't have the list of users, but there was no error. We came back here. So what we will do is from here, we will go back to the index and we're going to start. I like to do any includes that are unrelated to, well, I like to put my includes, these kind of includes that I'm getting ready to do now at the top of the screen if possible. CF include, we want to include the query. So if I go dot dot dash, we see queries, we click on that, we do dash, and forward slash, and then we enter that. So now we have the users. So before we'll worry about where to put the add user, we will do a CF dump, paste in query users, and if you wonder how I did the CF dump, if you notice there's an NS besides each one of these. These are mine that I created. They're global snippets that I created that I put in my snippets code. So every time I want to do something, if I want to do the plus or the plus 10, I'll show you what that is real quick. CF dump, and I will pick the plus, and then let's go to the next, let's go to the next one, CF dump. We will go to the plus 10. So what does this do? This says don't expand this CF dump. Let it be shrunk, so you have to click it to open it and look at it. Give it a variable name of what this is. So if I was doing this query users, I would put that here. That also would be here. And over here, this would be users. Users. Down here, it would be users. Now, what does this top 10 do? This only gives us the top 10. So if I have 1,000 records, I only want to see a few just to kind of get a flavor of what's going on, what's in there, is it working? That's just something, and I may need to fix my snippet because I really do not like this extra space for this particular tag. So I would prefer it to look like that, except on over here and here. So now I will run the dump and it will show it 3 times. And it will give you an idea of what the no expand does. As a beginner, you may not know. It will show you what the label does. It will show you what, it won't show you what the top 10 does. But let's go ahead and hit refresh. And because I'm in dark mode, you cannot read the text. So what we're going to do temporarily is go back to the includes, go to the header. We're going to change it from dark mode to light mode. That's all I have to do to change modes. So I can now hit refresh. Now you can see here is the dumped out user that we got. But notice how this one has the word users, this one doesn't. This one doesn't have that label. This is the label. Then I can click here. So if I had 1,000 of them, this would be a pain to scroll through. This one can't show you right now, but then this one would be showing you just the top 10. So let's go back and get rid of this dumping. We don't need it. But what we do want to do is we want to do something like this CF output. But what I want to do is I'm going to use the Bootstrap tables. So I'm going to simply say, we'll add another thing in a minute. So I want to say table. Users, that up here should go up above in my opinion. We'll put that up here. That's users, TR. And then we will do this. We will add the last name. We will add the email. I don't really want to display the password, but what we will do right now is we will get it. And for actions, I'm going to, I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to paste it up here. And I'm going to say edit. I mean, you could put both actions here, but I like to keep actions that are near the delete somewhere else, just so that way we don't have a problem. Another thing I want to do is right after table, I want to do T-head, and then I'm going to copy that and put it right here and say in T-head, that's the heading row, and then now I want the T-body, and I'll copy that, go down here below the output, and we do need to move that add. Let's just move it above the table for now, and we'll worry about it in a little bit. So we've got this. We want it to loop through each row, so what we want to do is yeah, that's true. We want to get the query inside of there. So now what we're trying to do is take the row, take the edit, take the first name out of that output that we did, email, and password. And right now we'll display the password, which is a no-no, but it'll be all right because this is on my system. And what we'll do later is we'll change this where it doesn't show the password. It shows a certain, well, you know what? Let's just do that right now. I'm not going to show the password here, even though this particular one is just password. Let's just do a random, just a few asterisks. And so now it should loop through and show those. We're at the end of the table body down here, and now we want to do table, ending table. If you're yelling at the screen, yeah, I see that it doesn't have a slash. We're going to go all the way up here, and we're going to move that over one space to make it all lined up. One of the extensions I have, which I would have to look up, is these called Rainbow Indent, I believe. It indents each level in a different color to help you. I will try to remember to also tell you about this one. See how it's got a square block around this? If I go here, it puts a square block around that. That one's not as popular and not as well known. Let's actually go find both of those real quick, just so in case you want to install them. Rainbow Indent, I think. Indent Rainbow? Yes, Indent Rainbow. So this shows you, it colors these, and you can change it to be like, I like it with the line so it kind of sticks out, but you can do it where it's just a lighter color. Another one was the block, and I think he called it Blockman, was it? Yes, Blockman. Boy, I remember. So if we scroll, let's see here. This one's not showing us. Let's go down here. Yeah, see here. You click on a spot and it shows these blocks around the code that you're in. And see, as you click on it, see how it puts the blocks around it? That's very nice when you're trying to find some block and find out what's wrong. So let's go back here. Let's hit refresh. Now we have our table. Looks ugly. We have our table. We have our add user where it shouldn't be, but we'll fix that in a little bit. We're going to make this look better because we have Bootstrap. First thing I want to do, though, is move that back to dark mode because that's hurting my eyes, and I'm not kidding. I've been coding for almost 30 years, and I get sick and tired of white screen. It's just hard for me to look at. And so there, that's fixed now. Let's go back to the table. Index, here's the table. All we got to do is add in the class for Bootstrap, we add whoops, we add table. That adds the table stuff to the class. In fact, let's just go hit refresh so you can see it. I've got a habit where I do the same one most of the time. So now it's all looking nice. But I actually want a little more than that. Table dash stripe. Now there's another one, table dash SM for small. When I've got certain fields and certain things, I use that as well to try to make it fit nicely. So now I hit refresh. You don't see any difference because you have, for striped, you have to have 2, 3, 4. One, every other one's going to be colored. So the first one's not. So you're not going to notice. Actually, it's not stripe. It's striped, I think. And if that's not working, there you go. See, it's a lighter color. And the next one will be the same color like as the header. Now, if you wanted the header to be another color, you can go in here and say class equals, and then say, I think it's thead dash primary. This will make it that blue color of that, same as that button. That didn't work. I haven't done it in a while. Probably doing something wrong. Let's just do this for now. Primary. I think that will do it, but I'm still not, no, it didn't do it. I'll look it up and find out what it is. It's not really that important right now to this project, but I will try to remember to do that. If I forget, someone post and remind me. Okay, so right now we have the second one. Let's add at least a few more. So we click add. I have there's several extensions I use. This is one of them. I used to use a different one, but I kind of got tired of the names it was giving me for my fake data. So if I click right here, it pops up. Do you want, so I say generate them all. So now it's generating some fake data. I hit fill in, and I don't like this. I need to figure out how to fix this one, because the one thing I don't like is having this for emails. K-O-E-P-P. There we go. I just made it the first initial and then the last name at Gmail. So I click add user. I don't even know what the password is. I don't care. So now you got that. So let's hit add user. Let's at least add a few more. We will fill it out again, and we will simply delete. You know what? I'll leave it this time, and that way you can kind of see. So let's add another one. So now we have 4. Oops, I forgot to hit fill the form. Add user. Okay,